Chapter 48. The next morning, Max prepared to lead the team through the installation of the first solar panels. Emmanuel and a few of the other local kids were there to help. "We're very good workers," he said cheerfully, "especially when it comes to helping our family and friends." "Great," said Max. "We'll start with your house. After all, your father led the group that requested assistance from the CMI. Emmanuel shook his head. "No. Hold on a second. Father and I discussed this. We would like to start with Ms. Diana's house. She knows some medicine. She helps others. She should have the first electricity." Max nodded. Sounds like a plan. Emmanuel led the way to the house, which was more or less a shack with mud-plastered wooden walls. Working together, the team hoisted the first few solar panels up to the corrugated metal roof of the house. "Watch where you step, guys," said Keto. "This metal is pretty thin, like baked bean can thin." "We need to have the panels facing true north," said Toma. "No," said Klaus, flapping a thin sheet of metal. "The instructions say due south." "Well, because," explained Toma, "the instructions were written in the northern hemisphere. This region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo is in the southern hemisphere. Everything gets flipped." "Fine," said Klaus. "Aim them to the north. But the tilt of the panels needs to be equal to our latitude, plus 15 degrees in the winter, minus 15 degrees in summer." "Well, it's summer here," said Hannah. "So we need to go with 26.687 degree tilt," said Vihan, the math whiz. Klaus rolled his eyes. "Can we just call it 27 degrees?" "I suppose," said Vihan. "However, I and most quantum physicists consider precision to be a virtue." "We'll call it 27, said Max, taking charge, because that was her job. What's going on up here? Oh, whatever. Geniuses can be tough to corral, she figured. She knew she definitely was. It took nearly 6 hours to install and wire the array of 240-watt panels on the roof. While the team and the local kids worked, Vihan tried to explain the quantum physics behind capturing electricity from the sun to Emmanuel, who was super inquisitive. "It's a manipulation of atoms," said Vihan. "It starts with sunlight because, as Dr. Einstein first suggested, a sunbeam isn't a wave wiggling through space. It's a collection of wave packets, each with energy. He called those chunks of energy photoelectrons, which somebody shortened to photons." "Cool," said Emmanuel. "Very," said Vihan. "So when these photons pass through the silicon wafers of a solar panel, their electrons get knocked loose. If we free an electron from an atom and force it to move, we create electricity. Knock enough loose, and pretty soon you can power all the lights in Ms. Diana's home. We can also power a bunch of sewing machines," added Tisa, "if we get the job done on time." "We will," said Keto. "Don't worry, we've got this. Right, Max?" "Right," Max nodded. But inside, she was still thinking, "I hope so." "You guys are so smart," said Emmanuel, standing up to wipe his brow. "Working with you is better than school." He smiled broadly. Until he wasn't. Uh-oh! He saw something off in the distance. Max stood up and looked to where Emmanuel was looking. A group of 6 Congolese men, toting rifles, with ammunition belts draped across their chests, sauntered into the village. Their faces were masked by bandanas. They were escorting a shorter man whose eyes were cloaked by sunglasses. The shorter man wore a safari vest and a wide-brimmed sun hat. He didn't carry any weapons. He didn't need to. His small personal army had brought more than enough firepower. "That's Mr. Weber," whispered Emanuel. "He is a manager of the mine." "Where are Carl and Isabel?" muttered Klaus. "On a reconnaissance mission," admitted Max, "up in the hills, searching for bad guys." "Well, they should have stayed here," said Klaus, "because the bad guys just walked into town." "Where's your security detail?" Max asked Klaus. "Where's Yahov?" "I don't know." The heavily armed men marched up to the home where Emanuel, his friends from the village, and the CMI were working on the roof. Klaus pressed a button on his chest that was wired to a high-tech earpiece. "What's that?" said Siobhan. "Yakov gave it to me. I'm wired for sound. If I need help, I'm supposed to call him." "So call him, you dense fool!" "Hello? Yahov?" Klaus kept thumping the control switch. "Hello? Mayday! Mayday!" No one replied.